We won't always have right triangles, and so today we're going to begin by looking at the sine law, which will help us solve for missing angles and sides if we are not given a right triangle. So the right triangles, we can find missing angles and sides using the primary trig ratios, but again, only if it's a right triangle, and we don't always have that. Now to start, normally we would do this investigation. So you would draw a triangle on a sheet of paper and a nice large triangle. Then you would measure each side length and each angle, and then you would calculate the following. And what you should notice is that these three ratios actually end up being equal to each other. Side A over the sine A, side B over sine B, and side C over sine C. Those three ratios should end up almost, well, if you did it correctly, they'll end up identical. And because our ratios are the same, then we can use these ratios to help us solve for missing angles and sides. Let's say we have this triangle here. I want you to notice that if we have angle A, then side A is directly across from it. So we use an uppercase A for the angle and a lowercase a for the side. We use an uppercase B for the angle and a lowercase b for the side, uppercase C for the angle, lowercase c for the side. And the sides are always directly across from the angle. And so we can actually write our sine law to be A over sine A is equal to B over sine B, which is equal to C over sine C. Because these are ratios, we actually can write it this way too. Sine A over A equals sine B over B, which equals sine C over C. Okay, so either of those is equivalent. What we're going to do is we're going to try to see if we can find two ratios to set up and then use those ratios in order to solve for our missing side or angle. All right, so let's say this is our triangle here. We're asked to find the length of side B, so we can see that it's missing. The first thing we want to do is see if we can find an angle and an opposite side that we know. So if I look at this, I can see I have angle C and I have side C. So that's my ratio that I know. And then the ratio that I'm looking for is right there with B. So I'm going to write this out. I always like to start with my unknown. So I'm going to say B over the sine B is equal to C over sine C. And now I can put in my information. So I don't know B, but I know angle B is 80. And I know side C is 10. And angle C is 30. All right, let's do some cross multiplication here. If I cross multiply this, I'm going to get B sine 30 equals 10 sine 80. And then I can divide each side by the sine of 30 in order to try to get B all by itself. Sine 30 and sine 30 cancel, so B is equal to 10 sine 80 over the sine of 30. So B equals. All right, so again, make sure your calculator is in degree mode. And I'm going to go 10 sine 80. And I'm going to hit equals. And then I'm going to hit my divided sign, sine 30, and hit equals again. And I get 19.7. So B is equal to 19.7. Okay, so finding the sine or using the sine law is just, this is all it is. It's just a matter of setting up our ratios and then solving for the missing piece of information. So let's try another one. Determine the length of side Q. Okay, so remember we said we needed to find angle and an opposite side. So here I have an angle and an opposite side. I'm looking for side Q, so I'm looking to solve for that side there, but I'm missing the angle inside of my triangle. Now, no fear, we can actually figure out that angle quite easily. We know that the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. And so I'm going to take 180 minus 30 minus 112, which gives me 38. And so my angle down here is 38. And now I have that ratio to set up. Okay. So I'm missing side Q, so I'll start there, which means I need the sine of Q, which is 38 degrees. And then because I started with my missing side on top, I got to start with the side that I know on top, which is 14 over the sine of 30. Okay, let's do some cross multiplication here. I have Q sine 30 equals 14 sine 38. Divide by the sine of 30. Sine of 30, that will get that Q all by itself. So this cancels with this. So Q is equal to 14 sine 38 over the sine of 30. And again, in my calculator, I'm going to say 14 sine 38 and hit equals, divided by the sine 30 and hit equals, and I get 17.2. So angle Q is 17.2. All right. Let's keep going. Now they want us to find an angle. So we're still going to start the same way. I'm going to look for an angle in an opposite side that I know. So I see one right there. And I'm looking for angle D. So I need side D, which I have. Okay, so here we go. Let's set this up. Now, since I'm looking for angle D, I'm going to actually put that on top. I always like to put my unknowns on top. You don't have to, of course. These are all ratios. You just need to be consistent. So sine D over side D, which is 6, over the sine of E, which is 52, all over side E, which is 8. Let's cross multiply this. And I get 8 sine D equals 6 sine 52. I'm going to start by dividing each side by 8. So that will get rid of the 8 there. So now I have sine D equals 6 sine 52 over 8. And then I need to get rid of this sine right here. Remember, to get rid of a trig ratio, you multiply by the inverse. So a sine inverse of this whole thing. So sine inverse and sine cancel, leaving me with just angle D, which is what I want. And in my calculator, I'm going to go the sine inverse of 6 sine 52 all over 8. Okay, so you're going to need some brackets, definitely, to solve this. So we're going to go second function sine, bracket, 6 sine 52 divided by 8, bracket, equals. And I get 36.22, so we'll just call that 36 degrees. Okay, so see, we can use these ratios to help us not only find a missing side, but to find a missing angle too. Let's keep going. How about you give this one a try on your own? Pause the video here, see if you can do it, and then come back to see the solution. All right, so if you're back, you've noticed that you have this angle on this opposite side, and this is the angle that you're looking for. So I'm going to start with sine Z over 21 is equal to the sine of 84 over 27. From here, I'm going to cross multiply, and I get 27 sine z equals 21 sine 84. Divide both sides by 27. Leaves me with sine z equals 21 sine 84 over 27. And then I want to get rid of that sine, so I have to take the sine inverse. But then I also have to take the sine inverse of my other side. So angle Z is going to be the sine inverse of 21 sine 84 all over 27. Get up my calculator here. Second function sine, bracket 21 sine 84 divided by 27, bracket equals, and I get 50.67, so I'll call that 51 degrees. Awesome. So hopefully that's what you ended up with too. So the sine law is just about ratios. It's just about setting up your ratios in order to solve the piece of information that you're looking for. Now this last problem I want us to look at, we have 3 triangles going on. So lots of triangles going on. We want to find the measure of angle theta. So in order to do that, I need to set up my sine law. So I have an angle and an opposite side, which is good. But I need to find this angle, and I need to have that side. So I don't have this side. So let me highlight it here so you can see. This is the side that I need to have in order to use my sine law to solve for that. So let's start way back then. And this is where you're going to have to find other pieces of missing information first before you can get to what you need. So to start with, I'm going to find this missing angle up here simply by taking 180 minus 62 and minus 71. 180 minus 62 minus 71, and I get 47 degrees. So the angle up here is 47 degrees. Now, I can use this to have an angle and an opposite side so that I can figure out this missing side here. I'm going to call it x. So let's start by finding that missing side right there. Okay, x over the sine of 62 is equal to 20 over the sine of 47. Cross multiply that, I get x sine 47 is equal to 20 sine 62, and I divide each side by the sine of 47. So this is equal to x, which equals out to 20 sine 62 equals divided by the sine of 47 equals 24.1. Okay, so this means that this length right here is 24.1 centimeters. And now if I keep looking at this diagram, I see my right triangle. See that right triangle right there in the corner where this is 40. And now I know that this side is 24.1. And the side that I'm looking for, that highlighted side, I'm going to call it Y. That's the side that I want to have, because then if I have that side, I can set up my sine law in order to solve for that missing angle. Okay, so primary trig ratios. I'm going back to what we did the other day. Because this is a right angle triangle, I see that I have my angle here. I'm going to start by labeling my sides. So this is my hypotenuse. This is my adjacent. This is my opposite. All right, so I'm looking for my adjacent, have my hypotenuse, so I'm going to use cosine. I'm going to say the cos of 40 degrees is equal to my adjacent side over my hypotenuse. Remember, we put this over 1 and we cross multiply, and I get y equals 24.1 cos of 40. So y equals 24.1 cos 40 equals 18.5. If we round, 18.5. Okay, so that means this is 18.5 over here. I now can set up my ratio. So I'm looking for angle theta. So I'm going to say sine theta. And my opposite side I now know is 18.5 is equal to the sine of 40 over 15. We're going to cross multiply that. I'm going to get 15 sine theta is equal to 18.5 sine 40. Divide by 15. Divide by 15. And now I have sine theta is equal to 18.5 sine 40 over 15. Getting so close. I need to eliminate that sine. So to do that, I'm going to take the sine inverse. And of course, the sine inverse on one side, I have to do to the other side. So second function sine bracket 18.5 sine 40 divided by 15 bracket equals 52.4. So let's say 52. We're going to round it. 52 degrees. So we finally got to angle theta, 52 degrees. All right, so that was a huge problem. It started off using the sine law to find, oh no, actually it started off finding a missing angle. Then from there we found a missing side. Then we found another missing side. Then we found the missing angle. So there was 4 things going on in that problem that we had to solve in order to get to our final answer. So that's the big thing about trig, is that you need to realize sometimes you can't just jump to figuring out the final answer. Sometimes we have to find other pieces of information first before we can get there. Okay. So big thing with this is practice, practice, practice. And then, of course, if you have any troubles or problems, come and see me and talk to me. Thanks.